What's going on YouTube? John here, and today I have a review of the LG G2, LG's newest flagship phone. The G2 was provided to me by Verizon for review purposes. We're going to talk about the hardware, the software, and everything in between, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the design and build quality of the G2. As you will notice, there are no buttons around the phone. The power button along with the volume controls can be found on the back of the phone below the camera lens. Some people may find this placement of the buttons to be weird or out of place, but after a couple days I got used to it and really liked them being on the back of the device, though it takes away from the design a bit. The overall design and build quality of the phone I thought was pretty good. I like the rounded edges of the phone and the overall design and build quality, even though the plastic backing makes the phone feel a little less than premium and doesn't make sense since there's no removable battery. Next I want to talk about the hardware. On paper, the G2 is a beast. It sports a 5.2-inch display with full HD resolution. The display is impressive and one of the best displays I've ever seen. The viewing angles are great, and with almost no bezel you feel like you're holding one big display. The only drawback is using it outside under direct sunlight. Seeing the display in person is the only way to appreciate it. The G2 is the first device in the US to have the Snapdragon 800 quad-core processor. Along with a fast processor and 2 gigs of RAM, the G2 handles everything you throw at it without skipping a beat. From using the G2, it is one of the fastest phones I have used, if not the fastest. So with a fast processor and HD display, what kind of battery life will you get? Well, LG put a 3000 mAh battery in the G2, though not removable, it does the job. At the end of a normal day's use, which starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 9 p.m. for me, I was able to have about 40 to 50% battery life left. Unless you are a super heavy user, which I mean on your phone non-stop, you should be able to get 2 days of use out of the G2. The G2 is running Android 4.2.2 and has a lot of other features LG has packed in there, like Q-Slide, Slide Aside, Clip Tray, Quick Remote, and Knock On. Q-Slide allows you to run multiple apps on top of each other, like a video on top of a note you're taking, though this feature only works with 9 apps. Slide Aside allows you to swipe with 3 fingers to the left to save apps and swipe 3 fingers to the right to jump back and forth across open apps. The last feature I want to talk about may be the reason the buttons are on the back of the phone. Knock On allows you to wake up the phone and put it to sleep by tapping twice on the screen. This is my favorite feature of the G2. The camera on the G2 is a 13 megapixel shooter. Most of the time you will get good shots out of the camera, but there are moments when you won't like the results. The biggest problem with the camera is in low light situations, though this is common among most smartphone cameras. The one thing that sets the G2's camera aside from others is that it has a built-in optic image stabilization. This helps keep your photos and videos from looking shaky or blurry if you are moving while taking the photo or the video. LG is not only trying to compete with other top-end smartphones, it has a real chance of being the best smartphone of choice with the G2. The placement of the buttons may seem weird at first, but get used to it in the end. The G2 is one of the fastest phones out right now and has a battery that will outlast most other smartphones. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with the LG G2.